Hi, in this video I'm going to do some experiments for the troop formations for hitting the Titan. The Titan is a weekly event where you can send 10 marches to do damage. You can get some rewards for that, and you can, if you do well enough, you rank high and you get some rewards for that as well. Since I'm not spending any money on the game, I'm not going to rank high enough for any rewards, but I will still try to optimize my damage. Somebody advised me to use artillery as much as possible, so I'm first trying to do that, see how that works, and then use some other formations that I think might be beneficial based on my experience with other games. I'm going to activate the 2-hour attack boost, and which ability was it? So this, activate this one as well. And then let's see. Actually, that is my formation for artillery only. I didn't research the highest or open up the highest artillery that I could, because I thought it's pretty useless. So I'm going to use this Thebes and this one because it gives me most troop capacity, and the troop capacity is more important than anything else. This is a distance hero, so what I cannot fill with artillery, I'm going to fill with distance troops. See how that does. I don't have any comparisons, so I really have to do a few hits before I can, a few hits with different formations before I can draw any type of conclusion. So for the heroes, I took these gold heroes, mostly because those heroes have they increase the march capacity the most. I haven't really looked a lot at troops yet, but I just did, and I was a bit surprised about that. Didn't realize that this, if you look at the troops, all cavalry are strong against distance troops and weak against infantry. Doesn't matter which type. If you have the cavaliers or the chargers, the heavy cavalry or your light cavalry, doesn't matter. They are all the same, and for distance you will see the same, weak against cavalry, strong against infantry, and for infantry you will see strong against cavalry, weak against distance, and artillery doesn't have any specific troops that it is strong or weak against. Still having to wait a bit. So that I'm quite, I was quite interested about it. It worked like that. Still I'm probably going to make a video after this more for combat against other players. Specifically for the abyssal mines, but that's just fighting against other players. So going to look at a, clicked on the arrow by accident. I'm going to do now as a comparison troop configuration without artillery and very low on infantry. And this is something that's worked very well in similar. Let's actually max out this. Both distance and cavalry are good damage dealers. So let's send this out. See whether we see any significant difference in damage. I was talking about the troop configuration. I will do that for the Abyssal Mines, but that is basically fighting against other players. And the interesting thing, I mean, based on what I saw, I think I'm still going to go for a mix, because if you go for one specific troop type, you expose yourself. And actually, especially distance, but also cavalry, they are quite low on the defensive value. So if you're going to make a march with only distance, then you make yourself quite weak, and somebody with cavalry, even though if they are weaker than you, they can easily overrun you. So that is can be a bit of a problem. If you choose for infantry, because they have high defensive values, then the problem is still that you have a low attack value. So I think still a mix is probably the best, to be both defensive and offensive strong, and don't expose yourself to a specific weak troop type. Okay, let's see. For my artillery one, I have 151,000 damage, and for my mixed troop 177. So for me it is mixed troop. Could be because I didn't research the latest artillery yet. I would have, based on my experience with other games, I would actually have expected that this would even be higher, but it's not the case. So let's see, can I do some other experiments? If I look at this, maybe I'm going to change my my preset a bit. It's quite, that went a bit too sensitive, the mouse. I'm just going to basically set the more or less the one that I just used. And then maybe I can, for the Titan, make some variation on that. Maybe to some extent it's also not that strange that okay, let's first go with before I start talking more, let's first see if we can add a little bit of artillery in the mix as well, to see if we combine it, if it can go even better. Okay, I have a lot of small stuff. Let's see if I can add 1,000 of each of the artillery. If I have it. 5 and 4, I have it. 3 also, Oh, well, let's just leave it like that. That a full amount, this a full amount, and then we still have 5,000 left. Oh. Let's add that with distance. So tweak a bit and see, this is yeah, somebody else is also reacting that the artillery didn't work out. One big drawback of using artillery is the march speed, so it just takes quite a bit longer, and that's not just for this Titan but also for rallies within the just rallies from your hive that in the rallies to the ancient gate, for example. Yeah, if people add artillery, especially there are two types of artilleries. The slowest one is a lot slower. The faster one of the two is only slightly slower than other troops, but that's really yeah, a bit of an issue. Maybe you don't have so much game time, you don't want to spend so much time hitting this. So this actually, if we look at it, this actually is an improvement. So let's start my change my preset a bit. My golem, I use the term golem from other games, my Titan preset to, let's take it purely from the cavalry this time. A bit of a problem operating. And these values I just take if you do your own experiments. Maybe it turns out that with 2000 you do a lot better, or maybe a certain type of, or maybe less you do better, I don't know. I'm just thinking what should be the next experiment. This is kind of my assumption that that the mix of troops is working well. So having both, not just focusing on your highest tier, but also having some of the lower tier troops in there. So what shall I do? Shall I see if I can increase the infantry this time to, let's say, 500? They are not good damage dealers normally, infantry. If you, yeah, we can just, once I've set out this march, we can look at their stats. Yeah, for the rest I don't have, so here I can, use a bit more. Oh. Let's see how this goes. Okay, yeah, while we wait, let's have a quick look. At the, well, I harvest, sorry, couldn't resist. So if we look at the basic stats of the troops, we see that for infantry, they have a health of 164, attack 113, defense 215. If we compare that to, for example, the distance troops, you see that health and defense are lower, attack is higher. So distance definitely the better damage dealer. In here we see values that are actually quite similar to the distance troops. If we look at the health, attack, defense, speed, it's faster. So that is, yeah, from that point of view, I started out with a very low amount of infantry. But in this kind of games, there is also, it seems, for the first part, first amount of a certain troop type you put in there, it does more damage than if you put in more, or if you add a same amount of another troop type. So from that point of view, putting in a small amount is often good. Putting in too many infantry will be quite bad. So you can see here it's actually a bit lower, so I'm not going to continue with this preset. Does it really matter, by the way? This is 190, so I get the same whether I do the maximum damage that I can or the minimum. I do the same amount of damage. So I guess I will leave it at this. You can do your own experiments with this Titan. It's quite interesting to try out some different configurations, and maybe certain things work for you because of your boosts or because you have unlocked other tier of troops that I haven't unlocked yet. So it could be that certain things work for you that don't work for me. So don't just blindly follow what I've done, but yeah, try it for yourself. I'm going back to this formation with very low on infantry and quite a bit of artillery, and yeah, see how that, or not see, just use that for the rest of this event to maximize my damage. Okay, well, that was it. If you have any suggestions for me or any questions or any comments, that is always much appreciated, and thanks for watching this video.